number one goal is to show them a property. How can you get them into a house? You show them a house, you're their agent. So we're going to talk today about how the fortune is in. Can you guys fill this in? Shout out if you know it.
The follow-up.
Yes, the follow-up. Okay, and Katie asked an excellent question last week, and it really was a natural progression from what we've been talking about, because a lot of you guys are out there doing open houses, or you're working your sphere of influence, which we call SOI, and you're getting opportunities, you're getting leads, you're getting names, you're getting numbers. Now, when you're at an open house, don't be discouraged if somebody is not hot to go look at another house right away. People at open houses are in various stages of their process. They might have not even thought about buying a house, and they saw your signs and they just wandered in. Or maybe they have been looking for a while and then they stopped, now they're looking again. Maybe they're curious, maybe they might be pre-approved, they might not be pre-approved. So you never know where they're at. So the follow-up is so important, and don't get discouraged if you don't get a response immediately from your follow-up. But we're going to talk about follow-up, what that looks like, how to do it, all your, so you have these leads, so now what? So number one, I think we keep referring back to this because we're with EXP, we have KV Core, right? So you want to enter them in KV Core, all right? That is your database management. Again, if you don't have a database that you're actively working and staying in touch with, I mean, I didn't in the beginning, right? So I'm talking to myself here, but in the beginning I didn't. I just had Post-it notes, Excel spreadsheet, whatever you have, but we have a database, and if you're not using it, in my opinion, you're not taking your business seriously. Like this is your business. So we've got classes on this every week, every other day there's classes on how to use it. And again, if the average, I think, real estate agent is what, like a 52-year-old woman, I think. Those are the demographics. If they can use this, we can all use it. It's going to be user-friendly. So we want to do that, and that gets them on an automated communication system where you constantly sending them valuable information. And the most important thing we can send a buyer, do you guys remember what Missy said last week? The most important thing we can send a buyer. Oh, I'm so glad we're reviewing it. Properties.
Oh, yes.
Houses. So you want to send them a property. That's how you met them. That's what they're interested in. They don't want to know, hey, how are you doing? Just thinking about you. Oh, sorry. Okay, you got something for me? Just send them a property. Now, in the SOI, that's a different follow-up. Yeah, that's more relationship. But we're talking about, you got a hot lead, they're out looking, let's send them a property. So your number one goal is to show them a property. Show. You want to get them out to show a house. So that is what you want to do. How can you get them into a house? You show them a house, you're their agent. And when people look, they buy. So you're going to find a property. So you're going to set them up on their search that they said. A lot of people, let's just throw out an example. I was at an open house this last Sunday with Becky, and this couple, I think she said they were looking for something over 2,500 square feet. They want minimum 4 bedrooms. They maybe a pool, maybe not. They like a large lot. So they needed a 3-car garage. But anyway, you got all these things, right? And you're writing it down, and you send that in your KV Core, and they're on an auto drip. They're getting all those, and they within the town that they specified or the zip code that they specified. Well, inventory is very low right now, right? And even when it wasn't low, we still had to get super creative, because if none of these things are striking their accord with them and they're not saying, hey, can I see this? Then what we're going to do is we're going to get creative, and we're going to find them a property. So even though they said they wanted 2,500 square feet and up, this person said they needed 2 distinct living spaces. They didn't want an open floor plan. So okay, let's just say they're saying, okay, I need to be in Roseville. Because I don't know, just people have this idea of where, what town they want to be, and that's great. So, but then if I can't find anything in Roseville, I'm going to look right on the border of Roseville and Citrus Heights. Feels like Roseville, you're right next to Roseville shopping, but the price point, because maybe they can only go up to $550. Well, anything in Roseville in that category, we're looking at $550 and up, not up to $550. So maybe we go to Citrus Heights, and maybe they said, I want something, 5 years or newer. I don't want anything older than 5 years. Well, maybe I find this one and it's got a little bit larger lot and it's 2,000 square feet, not 2,500 square feet, but it's got those separate areas. Maybe it even has a granny house in the back that could be a separate living area. And it's right on the border of Roseville, and it's an older house, but it's completely updated. It's not going to be on their radar. It's not in their Redfin or Realtor.com search engine. It's not even what you're sending them, because you're honoring what they asked you to send, but you're finding something to send them. Hey, listen, I just found this house. It just hit the market. I don't think people are for some reason people are passing on it, but it's fully updated, blah, 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 all these things. And guess what? It's not listed for $550. It's listed for $499. So you're looking at price points that they can start and go up, so they're not going to be completely outbid every time. And you can say, it's a little bit older, but it's got, fully updated. And you said you wanted 2 separate living spaces. This has an actual granny area in the back that could be a whole separate living room for one, whoever in the family, if it's multi-generational or whatever. There's so many reasons why people want 2 separate living areas. And then, so do you see what I'm saying? So you're describing it. Hey, can you see this today? Just, it just hit the market. Let's get over there and see what you think about it. Even if it's not exactly the town, they want to look at properties. Yeah. They're excited. They want to get out and see okay, well, let's see. Let's just go look. I'm like, just to look, you might hate it and that's fine, but can you get over there tonight? So you're finding a property to show them. You get creative. I had some clients that really wanted antelope. And so, Alberta's right by antelope. Certain parts of Citrus Heights are right by antelope. I mean, I'm looking wherever. They want Elk Grove. They're stuck on Elk Grove. Okay, well, we've searched all of Elk Grove. We've explored all those options. But, there's a part of this one area of Sacramento by Cosumnes River College. It feels just like Elk Grove. You're like right at Elk Grove. So you just get creative. They say they want Folsom. They want the 50 corridor. I'm like, have you thought about Rancho Murrieta? Is that too far out? They're looking at Diamond Springs. Why not Rancho Murrieta? So you just get creative. You find a property to show them. So what you're doing is you got the auto drip, but don't let that just do the work for you. You're time blocking on your follow-up. You are searching. You're doing your own creative searches in the MLS. You can get a shopping cart together just for those people where you're like, these are my creative out of the box searches that I'm looking for this family. They said they want Colfax. Well, there's Applegate, there's Weimar, and so where we're getting out of the box, but still giving them something that checks all their boxes. And so another thing I kind of touched on is we need to make sure, that we are sending below their target price point. I have clients that are first-time buyers and they are pre-approved up to $450,000, but they did not want to pay over $430,000. That was their sweet spot for their monthly payment. They're also 0 down payment buyers. They had nothing to put in for AMD. They had something in their IRA, but nothing in their bank account. I think they could pull out $1,800 immediately from their bank account. Well, we go out looking, and we looked at all these homes that were listed right at $425,000, $430,000, $440,000, $450,000, because they were approved for higher, but their comfort level was $440,000. And then there was one on our list. It was the last one listed for $399,000. And they were all in Citrus Heights, not far from each other, but this one was $399, and I thought for sure this is going to be a major fixer-upper. You know, I thought, oh, the pictures probably look so much better than they are, but this will give them margin. So we went in, and it was so beautiful, so clean. One of the cleanest homes as far as like no dry rot, no leaks, just everything was impeccable. Every single stucco crack was filled, and so they instantly fell in love with it. Like, you know, when you're with your clients, when they light up like a Christmas tree, you can, that's the one. Like, and then I was thinking, dear God, help me get this one in contract, because you know we're competing against 8-9 other offers every single time. So listed at $399. I texted the agent. I'm pulling out all the stops. So the good news is they had room, they had margin, they had headroom. They could bid all the way up, but they couldn't remove appraisal contingency. So see, there's the challenge, right? Because usually when you're offering way above, you know, the seller wants you to remove appraisal contingency. Well, thankfully, we pulled out all the stops in our offers that win strategy, which we may or may not have time to go over today. If we don't do it today, we'll do it soon. And so, we got the house. I mean, I screamed. I was so excited. So they got the house and all that, but we looked under their budget, and it was their favorite house. So when you just get them out there and you show property, when you're showing, you want to show worst to first, like the worst home first, and then the best home last. So worst home to first home, right? This was the last house they saw. They were like blown away that this house would be so nice for such little money. Now, we all knew it was going to cost more than $399, but they were able to go up. And even because we used our offers that win strategy, even though they had no EMD, no down payment, we still got the house, and they couldn't remove appraisal contingency. But anyway, we did all of our other things that cost the buyer nothing, but they mean a lot to the seller and to the listing agent. So you're going to get creative. You're going to help them. You're going to find something below their price point. And if you need to, go preview the house first, you know, and then make sure, and then maybe have a strategy in your mind. You're thinking, okay, I don't know about this, but maybe I could show them the possibilities, because you realize buyers have zero imagination most of the time. When I first got into real estate, I was so surprised, because what I considered move-in ready meant everything's working. Nothing needs a repair. You know, it's not falling apart. That's move-in ready. Like, you can move in and live in it. But what buyers consider move-in ready means it's been updated within the last 12 months and fully remodeled, quartz countertops, you know, farmhouse sink. And that's what buyers consider move-in ready. They don't want to clean the carpet, let alone replace the carpet. They don't want to paint a wall. They don't want, you know, and so it was a rude awakening for me to realize they really can't see potential. Like, almost nobody can. It's a very, very small amount of the population. So you got to paint the picture. You can talk about, oh, and that's paint right there. Paint will make that look. So you're describing it. You're excited, and your enthusiasm will be contagious. Now, you're not trying to push them to buy anything. You're just creating a picture of opportunities that they can then transfer to other things that they see. If they don't buy it, that's not your goal. Your goal is not to get them out to look for a property that they will, I want them to buy this. No. You just want to show them property. That's your goal. When they look, they'll buy. Another question that comes up frequently is, well, what if they're not pre-approved? Well, have you met them? You know, did you meet them at an open house? Is it a referral? Is it a friend from high school? If I'm not afraid they're a serial killer, I'm going to go show them a house. If I am afraid they're a serial killer, my husband's going to drive me, and I'm going to show them a house. Yeah. So I'm showing them a house. You know, whether or not they're pre-approved, those are details. We'll figure that out. If they're not pre-approved, then okay, you know, let's get out there, let's meet, let's talk. let's see where you're at. Are you working with a lender? And a lot of times they're not. They don't even know that process. So great, I'm going to help guide them through that. That's going to be our next conversation before we go out again. And sometimes they're solid, and Jeff will call and say, oh, wow, they're golden. Like, they're fine. They could go make an offer right now. And then other times he'll call and say, it's going to take a little bit. We have a strategy, and that's fine too, because now they have a roadmap. So no matter what, you are helping them move forward into that position of home ownership. So pre-approval, do you show it before or after they're pre-approved? It depends. It depends on the situation. Now, if I have several listings and then I get a sign call from a stranger and I don't know who they are, and if they're not already working with a lender, I'll just say, hey, I'd love to show that property to you. Could you, I'll take about the next hour to go ahead and set that up for us. Would you be willing to take 3 minutes and have a quick conversation with the lender? Because I've promised the seller that, we're gonna make sure that pre-qualified buyers see their house. And so, you can term it, but anyway, if people don't do that, then that tells me right there, they don't really want to buy the house, if they're not willing to make a 3-minute phone call. So it kind of depends on where you're at, how desperate you are, which brings me to this. Another question that I get sometimes, just from random agents, I'm not talking about just in this room, is, should I hold an open house in this weather? Hey, Krista, it's raining cats and dogs out there. Should I do my open house? Are you desperate? Do you want to meet client? It's just, how desperate are you? Absolutely. I mean, Cindy, her first year was real estate in Montana, and she was holding open houses in the snow. I mean, yeah, we do it. That's our business plan. That's our strategy. We stick to it. We work it. Or, hey, should I show property in this weather? Absolutely. Yes. So we don't let the weather dictate our activity. We let our goals, our internal desire, what are we going after? That's what's going to dictate our activity. So we also have this buyer introduction letter, and I'm not going to read through it. I'm going to hand it out to you guys before you leave. So this is when I used to, when Brent was training me, and this was, he would train us on how to write offers, how to show properties, all these things that I'm telling you. Because why reinvent the wheel? Just do what works. So I'm a really, really good copycat. And anyway, so I got this letter from a friend on our team, and she said, yeah, take it, use it, make it yours, put your logo on it. So I did. Then when I started coaching Brent's team, I just posted this for everybody. So this is, a lot of people use this. It's just a basic 30,000 foot overview that you can give to your buyers that tells them 10 steps. Here are the 10 steps in your home buying process. They're very, very simplified. There's going to be specific things that are different for each deal, but at least you kind of have this overview. And also it's good for you if you're a brand new agent to know this, so that you kind of have an idea. Because don't worry and don't fret if you're new and you feel like you have no idea what's going on in your deal, because it took me 6 transactions before I even understood what's happening in this escrow. I had no clue. So did you feel that way, Manu?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you feel that way? You might still feel that way.
First escrow, I was like,
yeah.
I'm just going to do whatever Krista and Cindy say.
And that's what we're here for. That's why we're here. That's why I was not kidding when I said about Doug. I didn't even know what part of it he had to play. I just was giving his name, so that he could help come alongside and follow up. So yeah, just be a good copycat. Just we won't let you fall as long as you're keeping us in the loop on everything. And so that is now kind of my buyer presentation. If somebody calls me, I had an example, friends from high school, they called me. I had sold another high school friend a house, and then they called and said, hey Krista, we want to see a house such and such. I'm like, okay, when can you meet me there? I met them there that day. Within 2 hours I was there. I thought, I have no idea if what they can afford, if they're pre-approved. I don't know anything. And I just had this with me. I just had these in my car. And that way, after we looked at the house, I'm not like, hey, are you ready to buy a house? Because, you know, we got to check all these boxes first before I show you this. No. Let's give them what they want. They want to see a house. We go in there looking at all of it. And then afterward, it wasn't the house. They didn't love it because of how the location. And so I said, well, let's kind of find out where you're at and kind of show you the 30,000 foot view of the process. Would that be okay? Yeah. And they didn't have a lender. They didn't really remember the process, even though they owned a house. But you know, people do this once every 5 years. They don't remember. So I went through this with them. I went through the offers that went. I was like, and here's how we're going to go to the market when we write an offer. And so that is basically everything that Brent taught us. I'll go through this on a future training. That I used to, whenever I had a buyer, I'd say, can you come meet me at the office and we'll talk about what it looks like. I would literally reserve the conference room, signing room, it had a whiteboard, and I would draw it out for them on a whiteboard. Everything right here that we do, okay? And that was fine too. I mean, whatever works, you know. And then after a while I was like, you know what? I don't think I need the office and the whiteboard. I think I can just put this on a piece of paper and that'll work for me as well. But back then I needed the whiteboard. I needed the office setting. I needed the, you know, basically I was copying what Brent was doing in our trainings. That's what I was doing. And so, buyer intro letter. So do you need to do a buyer consultation with them before or after you show them a property? Again, it depends. You know, sometimes people are more formal, and every now and then, about once or twice a year, I'll still meet a buyer here in the office and I'll say, hey, can we sit down? Yeah, we could sit down together if they want to. Hey, we want to talk to you about buying a house. We're not sure what's involved. And then I can tell, okay, they really don't know anything. So I invite them to the office, I meet them here, we go through everything that, you know, we're talking about right now. If you've got a buyer like that, what I also like to do is, if they're not already working with a lender, I invite Jeff to that meeting. And I just say, hey, let me see when the lender's also available, because we work as a team, and he's gonna help answer your questions about the financing, and I'll answer your questions about the negotiation. Now, you don't have to do this by yourself. Your first time, second time, whatever you need. If you're on our team, Cindy and I are doing this with you, you know, so you're not having to conduct this conversation alone. But bring Jeff to the meeting if you want to. I've taken Jeff on listing appointments with me because I knew that gal that was going to sell needed a loan to buy. So Jeff came to the listing appointment with me more than once. And that way, while we're talking about how much she's going to get for her house, he can also figure out then what that translates in what she can spend on a purchase. So we're just getting so much done at once, right? Now with Zoom, that's fully a Zoom option too. You could just say, hey, Jeff, can you be available on Zoom? I'm going to talk about the listing, and then we'll bring you in at such and such a time. You open your Zoom, Jeff's right there. You have that conversation. So, but see how follow-up leads, it's a progressive thing, right? So you're following up just by drip, 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 sending them a property. Now, what if they're not ready to buy? They're 6 months out, their daughter's gonna have a baby, and then they're gonna need a bigger place because the daughter and the baby are gonna move in with them. So then what you can also do is to say, hey, Sharice, I was thinking about you guys, and I love meeting you guys at the open house. I hope your daughter's doing well and the pregnancy is going well. I know you guys it's not even on your radar for 6, 12, 18 months, but I found a couple homes that at your sweet spot price, I'd love to show you, just so you can get a baseline right now for what's available at that price. Because then the market's gonna change in a year. And that way when we're out in a year, you'll have that baseline and context of what could you get now for that price, and then in the future it'll just help build that context. So whatever it takes, just get them out to look at one property. Hey, I saw this, you guys want to just take a look at this, just keep in mind for the future. It'll take us 15 minutes, we'll pop in, pop out. Everything is a quick hey, you have like half an hour on Saturday, we'll look at the 2 best properties for that price point in the area. We'll pop in, pop out, and then you guys can go have lunch and just think it over and for the future, and think about what the future might look like for when you are ready to buy. See what I'm saying? So, but your goal is to get them into a house. It doesn't matter if they're going to buy right now or not, because that is what locks them and solidifies that relationship. They see you as their agent. So you want to get creative, you want to be enthusiastic, you want to have a sense of energy around it. And there's a whole other art to, once you are showing properties, what can be talked about at the property, if they love it, but they're like, man, we're just not sure, oh, no, that's fine, and let's say it's been sitting on the market for 89 days. And in this market, if something's been sitting on the market for 89 days, what does that tell you?
Overpriced.
It's overpriced. Yeah. So let's say so let's say it's on the market, it's $550, been sitting on the market for 89 days. Hey, nobody's even talking about this property anymore. I know you don't love it at $550. Do you love it at $525? Do you love it at $510? Mm-hmm. Do you love it at $5? Do you think we could get it for $5? I don't know. But you know what? Writing an offer is not buying the house. Let's just throw it out there. Yeah. Just see, take a swing and see if you make contact. If you'd love it at $500, so you're just getting them, getting the creative juices flowing, and then a lot of times the house that you take them to see is usually not the house that they're going to buy. It just it primes the pump. It gets them thinking about possibilities. So these are some ways that follow-up is so important. So when you're working with buyers, you have to follow up. And what's the number one thing that buyers want to see? Houses. So send them a house. Show them a house. And then you just keep doing that. So those of you that are doing open houses, you might be getting 1 to 2 leads per weekend, which over a 1 month period, that is 4 to 6 leads, or 4 to 8 leads. Over a 3 month period, that is, what is that?
18 to
1 a week.
12 to 18.
Right. 12. Who would love to have 12 to 18 buyer leads right now? Mm-hmm. Whether they're buying now or in the next year. Yeah. I mean, that's a year's worth of business you can generate in 3 months.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So then you just do the follow-up. Don't be discouraged if they're ghosting you. On our team, we've had people ghost people for like 6-7 months. And then I remember Cindy and Missy both telling me, oh my gosh, I just thought I'll never see them again. They're never going to respond. And then after 7 months or 8 months, they pop back up, and it's as if they didn't even realize they never replied to anything you ever sent them, but they're ready now. And so that's what follow-up does. It's your, I used to sell electronic components, and my friend, he used to call it frozen chicken. That's your frozen chicken. That's your chicken in the freezer when it's gonna be there when it's time and you're gonna need it. So the fortunes in the follow-up, don't be discouraged. If you are feeling ghosted by somebody and it's really disappointing to you, here's how to solve that problem. Can anybody think of it? We've talked about it before. You need more leads. More leads.
Yeah, you don't take it personally either.
You don't take it personally, but it can be discouraging if you feel like your efforts are not bearing fruit with that 1 or 2 buyers that you've got, right? The best way to solve that problem is go get more leads. So whether that's more open houses, and then you'll be I know it's shocking to hear this, or you can't imagine this possibly, but you'll be relieved if someone cancels a showing on you. You'll be like, oh, thank God, because I didn't know how I was going to do both of those, And so for right now, if you're doing your open houses and you're getting leads, don't stop the open houses. Just do like an hour of showings before your open house and an hour of showings after your open house. And you just stack those and show during the week. When I had about this many leads, my goal was to show property every day. and I would pore over all the listings in the MLS until I could find a house to show one of these people. And so I wrote it down in the office, show property every day.
Yeah.
Every day. How do you do that? You gotta find one to show somebody. Every day. So once you have that many in your pipeline, that is your goal. Show property every day. But I don't know what to do with them. What if they want to write an offer? Call me, text me. We will get that done. Yeah, you want new problems. All right, so that was it for today, and you guys are